Micah's hired priest lead the tribe of Dan into apostasy? Have we wandered from the faith taught by Jesus and the apostles, making idols of man-made doctrines? Let's look at Judges 18. Did the tribe of Dan fail to take their allotted inheritance in the land? Did they send out scouts to find other land? In those days there was no king of Israel, and in those days the tribe of the Danites was seeking an inheritance for themselves to live in. For until that day, the land among the tribes of Israel had not fallen to them as an inheritance. So the sons of Dan sent from their family 5 men out of their whole number, men of valor, from Zorah and Eshtaol, to spy out the land and to search it. And they said to them, "Go search the land." And they came to the hill country of Ephraim, to the house of Micah, and lodged there. Did they know the idolatrous priest that Micah had hired? When they were near the house of Micah, they recognized the voice of the young man, the Levite, and they turned aside there and said to him, "Who brought you here? And what are you doing in this place? And what do you have here?" He said to them, "Micah has done this and that for me, and he's hired me, and I've become his priest." Then they said to him, "Inquire of God, please, that we may know whether our way on which we're going will be successful." And the priest said to them, "Go in peace. Your way in which you're going has the Lord's approval." Did Danite scouts find a town in the north not allotted to them? So the 5 men left and came to Laish, where they saw that the people were living in safety, like the Zidonians, at peace and secure. And since their land lacked nothing, they were prosperous, and they lived a long way from the Sidonians, and had no relationship with anyone else. When they returned to Zorah and Eshtaol, their fellow Danites asked them, "How did you find things?" They answered, "Come on, let's attack them. We've seen the land and it's very good. Aren't you going to do something? Don't hesitate to go there and take it over. When you get there, you'll find an unsuspecting people and a spacious land that God has put into your hands, a land that lacks nothing whatever." On their way did they pass by the house of Micah and his hired idolatrous priest. And 600 men of the family of the Danites went from there, from Zorah and Eshtaol, armed with weapons of war. Then they went up and encamped in Kirjath-jearim in Judah. Therefore they call that place Mahane Dan to this day. There it is, west of Kirjath-jearim. And they passed from there to the mountains of Ephraim, and came to the house of Micah. Did they take the hired priest's idolatrous worship items? The 5 men who had scouted out the land around Laish explained to the others, "These buildings contain a sacred ephod, as well as some household idols, a carved image and a cast idol. What do you think you should do?" Then the 5 men turned off the road and went over to Micah's house, where the young Levite lived, and greeted him kindly. As the 600 armed warriors from the tribe of Dan stood at the entrance of the gate, the 5 scouts entered the shrine and removed the carved image, the sacred ephod, the household idols, and the cast idol. Meanwhile, the priest was standing at the gate with the 600 armed warriors. Was the priest flattered by their offer of greater status? When these went into Micah's house and took the engraved image, the ephod, the teraphim, and the molten image, the priest said to them, "What are you doing?" They said to him, "Hold your peace, put your hand on your mouth, and go with us. Be a father and a priest to us. Is it better for you to be priest to the house of one man, or to be priest to a tribe and a family in Israel?" The priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod, the teraphim, and the engraved image, and went with the people. So they turned and departed, and put the little ones, the livestock, and the goods before them. When they were a good way from the house of Micah, the men who were in the houses near Micah's house gathered together and overtook the children of Dan. As they called to the children of Dan, they turned their faces and said to Micah, "What ails you that you come with such a company?" He said, "You've taken away my gods which I made, and the priest, and have gone away. What more do I have? How can you ask me what ails you?" The children of Dan said to him, "Don't let your voice be heard among us, lest angry fellows fall on you, and you lose your life with the lives of your household." Did the tribe of Dan set up a rival, idolatrous religion to Israel's? Then the Danites went on their way. When Micah realized that they were too strong for him, he turned around and went home. The Danites took along the things that Micah had made, as well as the priest who had been with him, and came to Laish, to a people who were undisturbed and secure. They killed the people and burned down the city. No one was there to rescue them, because the city was far away from Sidon and had no dealings with anyone else. It was in the Beth Rehob valley. They rebuilt the city and settled in it. They renamed the city Dan, after their ancestor Dan, who had been one of Israel's sons. But in fact, the original name of the city was Laish. The Danites set up the sculpted image for themselves, and Jonathan son of Gershom, and grandson of Moses, and his sons became priests for the Danite tribe until the land went into exile. They kept for themselves the sculpted image that Micah had made throughout the whole time that God's sanctuary was in Shiloh. Is Dan missing in the list of tribes in Revelation 7 because they apostatized? Did Jesus teach that people can fall away? The seeds that fell on rocky ground are the people who gladly hear the message and accept it, but they don't have deep roots, and they believe only for a little while. As soon as life gets hard, they give up. Did Micah's hired priest lead the tribe of Dan into apostasy? Have we wandered from the faith taught by Jesus and the apostles, making idols of man-made doctrines? You decide.